How's it going, everyone? And welcome to another episode of No Excuses on YouTube.com. With your favorite show hosts are still.
Marion.
And follow Sal, and we're here to bring you the latest news and commentary on the video games industry for the week that was, or at least they are, because I didn't have any kind of week. I have been completely isolated from the concerns of video gaming for the past week. But if you'd like to get involved with the show, you can do so by sending us email at noexcusesvtw@gmail.com, or you can follow us on the Twitter at noexcusesvtw, or you can join us in our Discord server and talk and meme with the other show hosts and listeners of the people who listen to the show, and probably get banned from Discord, since Discord now bans people for misinformation, apparently. Yeah,
Have
you
they
can do that.
been
link
on
will
the
be in
internet
the
at any point?
archive. I don't know. I think that Discord as a company are just their mission is to kowtow to everybody, pretty much. Like, they don't seem to have any interest in being the sort of free platform they once were, which is disappointing. I don't understand, when you've got something like that, why let go of it? What is the consequence for holding on? I don't understand. There's a lot of the psychology of the people who bow to the censorship thing that I don't really understand. Like, a company like Discord doesn't really have that much hanging over them.
They don't have anything really.
There's not really any need for them to even issue a comment on the matter. Like, let's say that they just played dumb and just didn't respond. Like, how many people have to come out and say, "Oh, Discord, we should condemn them because they haven't given comment on the matter of misinformation"? How many people saying that is going to be necessary to affect the actual number of people using the service? There's no upper limit to that number. Infinite people could say it and it wouldn't affect anything.
Yeah. But there are alternatives out there for people who are just kind of tired of Discord's nonsense.
Yeah, unfortunately, Discord it's just a great platform, like, in terms of, like, mechanically what it's capable of and what it provides. It's an incredibly useful piece of software. It's just frustrating that everything has to be couched in political bullshit these days, because
Yeah.
that's really the reason. That's the reason to use this buzzword misinformation.
You know, I don't know where they're located, but I bet
But
better than even odds they're located somewhere where there are true believers of this stuff and hired or got converted by one of those true believers.
misinformation is second only to racist in terms of words that have no meaning any longer.
Oh, misinformation just means stuff that will be viewed as true in 3 weeks.
Apparently that's how it goes.
Like, I'm here to tell y'all, not as a political statement, but just as a fact of life, if you want predictions on the future, go watch the Alex Jones podcast, and then 3 weeks later, he'll be right.
It do seem that way.
Anywho, so all of that and griping about nonsense aside, on the stream today, I'm playing a bit of Foundation, which I haven't played for quite some time. Apparently they've changed this game a lot. I have no idea. I didn't even look at the patch notes. So, yeah, it's just one of those little villagey building games where you have a bunch of peasants and you have to keep them from dying. Although, that game does allow you to freeform build churches and castles, which is kind of cool. But anyway, that's really all I've got to say about this game. I'll just let it run. As for my week, I'll merge the big article with Ari's week, I think, because it's kind of obvious. But I also haven't done a whole lot in the way of gaming and nonsensey nerdy stuff. Although, I can't really even talk about that because, yeah, anime have also only just been running in the same groove, which has been continuing on watching Gintama. There is still a lot of it to go.
There's just a lot of Gintama in general.
Yeah, and about 90% of it is complete nonsense. But I've just gotten through the big Sirius arc, or the first big Sirius arc. Well, they're mostly serious. Where you've got a murderer who gets his hands on a super powerful sword, which is slowly corrupting him, and everyone just suddenly decides to stop making stupid arguments about whatever is on their mind at the moment, mostly, and actually combat a serious threat. Which was... It was nice, I suppose, seeing these characters put their serious faces on, but at the same time you're wondering, okay, when are they about to start arguing about underpants or something?
You're making this sound like an anime version of Seinfeld with bosses.
It's not far from it, honestly. Except, good.
I know you have a grudge against Seinfeld. I've never
Ah.
watched an episode of it, so I have no idea what it's like. I just know that you hate it.
It's just bad. The show is bad. And it's aged like fine milk as well, which doesn't help. Yeah, it has its funny moments, but by and large, it's just not funny. Like, Jerry Seinfeld is forever known, basically, as the guy who makes that joke about the airline food.
Is he the originator of that?
Pretty much, yeah. So, he's not funny. But yeah, that's kind of the thing with comedians. Comedy is subjective.
It's like the number of seasons they got says otherwise.
Yeah. And that follow-up show by what was it called? I'm trying to remember what it was called because it made absolutely zero impression on me. But by the same writer about the guy who wrote the show. And, yeah. Anywho. So, yeah, in Gintama, and continuing to watch it, it is, for the most part, very silly. Ridiculously silly. But every now and again, it does put on a serious face, and it will either, have a serious story arc, or at very least a serious moment of character development, or something like that. So it's a very good anime. Apparently, word is that it is one of the few anime that actually has a good live-action movie attached to it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it, but because the amount of good live action anime adaptations you can probably count on, a non-existent hand. So yeah,
You don't even need to take off your shoes to count it.
don't even need to take off your shoes. You can leave your hands in your pocket. The number is 0. But I'll keep ticking away and still enjoying that. They do, of course, have one convention which they've decided to put into context is adding subtitles onto the title. Apparently, the series goes Gintama, and then it's Gintama with an apostrophe, then Gintama with a degree, and then Gintama with a period. That's how you can tell the series apart.
But what about in conversation?
They pee on it entirely.
I
No,
presume
I mean
the
like
fans-
I mean like in real life
Oh,
when
yeah,
you're conversing with someone.
I think everyone just calls it all just Gintama. There is also a very famous clip which I've come across, I believe, in the actual run, which is Gintoki's theory on filler arcs, where he actually gives a very good and succinct phenomenon of an anime filler arc in opposition to what the manga's doing. I'll dig that out and stick it in the.
So what you're
Sorry,
saying
Jack.
is he doesn't have a huge deal of respect for the fourth wall.
No, the fourth wall is there just to be pushed over and yelled at, usually. Especially the fact that half the episodes, if it's a sillier episode, there's a good chance that the contributing factor to whatever silliness is going on is Gintoki trying to get his hand on a copy of Shonen Jump. Like, actual Shonen Jump.
What period is this set in again?
Apparently, the Edo period.
Shonen Jump been running a long time.
So yeah, that's the story. Is instead of Americans coming to Japan and opening up trade, it's aliens, and suddenly the Edo period looks like modern Japan with a few sci-fi bits attached to it. But
I
also,
mean, what kind of aliens?
well, they're kind of aliens.
Is it still Commodore Perry? Was he an alien?
Apparently, apparently he was still around as Commodore Perry. I have no idea how that worked. So yeah, apparently all the people who were famous for basically everything they did during that time period are still there. And apparently still did the things that they did. I don't know. I think it's one of those things you just don't think about. Otherwise it makes your head hurt. But beyond that, the only thing... Well, I played a little bit before Final Fantasy. And continuing along through the... my trip through the past. Bad thing happened to Bird Girl, as expected.
Oh, Bird Girl.
Poor Bird Girl.
She was adorable.
Yeah. But she was
And
too...
now she's been ruined.
She's too sweet and innocent to go on, and you just knew something terrible was going to befall her.
That's the way it be. But you haven't done the dungeon yet. So
I haven't done the dungeon. I hit the dungeon just before the show.
We'll stop that particular conversation there and put a pin in it and come back to it next week.
Yeah, because this is like talking about an arc of a story right before the big things happen in it.
Yeah, once you finish the dungeon, you can go look at that meme we were talking about, though.
Okay. All I know is Hermes just flipped his lid and flew away, so that's where I'm at with the story. But,
yeah, it's a very... I feel like overall it's a sort of a Final Fantasy 8-ish story more than a Final Fantasy 7-ish story, in the sense that ultimately it's that principle of you know, you keep fighting to survive in order to keep fighting to survive type of thing. Like it's the what is at stake as a principle. What the actual enemy that you are ultimately fighting is not just a, you know, mustache twirling person.
yeah. So, yeah, still thoroughly wrapped up in the story. It hasn't had an offbeat yet, though it has had a couple of silly unintentional moments. Like, I sent a picture to Vol this morning of my of a nice serious scene.
It's entirely your fault and working as intended based on what you said when you created that character.
Well, yes, but I mean, the foot-long unicorn horn attached to his head?
I will grant you that you stopped playing Summoner because of that.
Yeah, that was, oh, I'm a summoner. I guess I'll attach a carrot to my face.
I mean, you just hide that.
I mean, I did. But I still had that very important scene where, yeah, someone was going to lose an eye.
You're playing a Ronso. What were you expecting?
Yeah. Incidentally, my character also has a natural horn and it clips weird, so you see the natural horn kind of poking out the top of the armor. It's very strange. But, yeah, well,
There are about 30 penis jokes I can make right there.
Yeah, I know. It's all dick jokes all the way down. We'll leave it be.
And they all hit at once, and I couldn't pick on one, so I'll just lay out that there are about 50 of them. Because they just keep coming, and they don't stop coming.
Sit there and waggle your eyebrows. But yeah, so you can get sometimes just unintentional silly moments, like, there was also the big scene, back where you, are trying to rescue that baby from the corrupting influence, when all that's going down. There's a scene where everyone's standing around and everyone draws their weapons because a monster's approaching. Do not play it as a Ronso machinist, because otherwise you will gun whip Alice. As it turns out.
I mean, she needs a good pistol whip.
Yeah, she's such a smart aleck.
Yeah.
And she's so cool.
She's so cool, but yeah. Sometimes she could do with a good smack upside the head, and apparently you deliver that to her. Unintentionally. Yeah, I guess someone just didn't check that, because the drawing of the weapon animation, the one where they give that flourish, just involves a downward swing. And it goes directly through Alice's head.
She doesn't use it.
Yeah, she doesn't.
Yeah, just pistol whip her. She deserves it,
Just
probably.
give her a good whack around the ears with a gun. That's fine. It's fine. It didn't seem to bother her at the time. But yeah, I'll probably talk more about that next week after I've done the dungeon and hit a few more big story beats. But yeah, bad things happen to Bird Girl. Poor Bird Girl. As for the rest of my week, yeah, it's the obvious one. It's Elden Ring, and I'll talk about that once Ari gets to his week. So that's me. Oh, what you done? Nothing.
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 So I'm in the midst of my attempt to move house. So as of last week, I had nowhere to go and no plans, no way of resolving the situation. So I've had a frantic week, absolutely frantic week, trying to resolve that situation to the greatest advantage that I can assemble. I have made some progress on that since I have signed a lease and paid a bond for a place not too far from where I'm currently living. It's a place by myself, so I will finally be free of the noise and chaos of sharing a house with 6 other people. And it's very expensive to live by yourself in this country, but I just, I decided to swallow the cost. Number one, because I don't have time to be especially choosy, and number two, because honestly, it'll be nice to be able to sleep through the night without somebody, pulling into the gravel driveway at 3 a.m, or deciding to start yelling and screaming in the middle of the night, or all the usual things. And it'll be nice not to be late for work because somebody just decided that they were going to commandeer the bathroom all morning, and so on and so forth. All of those joys that come with living with a whole bunch of, inconsiderate other people.
Normies.
But, yeah, normies, basically. Although the problem is not that they are normies so much as the problem is that I keep normie hours so that I can be a responsible working adult, and I strongly suspect that a number of them are unemployed bums. So, yeah. Sorting that out, and anybody who's moved knows that it's a big job, and it becomes a much bigger job if you are completely by yourself and have no one else to rely on in order to carry out the process. So, it's been a bit of a project. I have managed to get most of the things set up. I'm trying to close a deal on a mover, and they have not quite allowed me to put a deposit down yet. They're just sorting out the final logistical things about saying that yes, they can definitely do the move for me. I contacted about 7 different moving companies to try and get quotes, and basically in the end, rather than picking the cheapest one was a lot cheaper than the others and looked kind of sketch. I picked the one that gave the most helpful reply to my request, as opposed to the ones who gave a bare bones response or whatever. So working that out now. Well, I think I like to reward that, and I let them know also that was the reason why I chose them, because that just means that if they acknowledge that that's the reason why I chose them, then they will endeavour to do that in future. And if it becomes a known thing that other companies lost business and one company gained business because of the quality of their customer services, well, I mean, then everybody's got a motivation to improve. And that means that next time I have to move, I can get better information next time. So that's the way these things are supposed to work anyway. So yeah, working on that. I haven't got power sorted out because apparently there's like a really, really old meter on the new flat that I'm moving to.
Oh.
And so some companies don't interact with those meters terribly well.
Yeah, but in my experience anyway, when you're running to that issue, sometimes I just send a person out to replace it.
Yeah, I don't. So I'll probably sign up for a basic no contract power dealie in the meantime until they figure out what the hell it is they want to do with that meter.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Because I don't think there's anybody who is currently scheduled to see to it, but there is also complaints from power companies that they can't communicate with it. So yeah, not really sure. We'll have to email some people, but unfortunately, I have to wait till working hours to actually make any progress on that. I have closed an internet deal though actually getting internet connected in New Zealand takes quite a while. Like, it can take a week or so. I don't know what it is they're doing in the meantime, but it does take some time. And yeah, getting a good internet connection and paying for it by yourself is extremely expensive. It's about $100 a month in this country. So, but I'm not going to have the convenience of moving out into a house of my own, and also the inconvenience of having crappy internet. So I bought the best internet that was available to me.
I mean, it takes time. We got to prep the chickens for sacrifice. We got to draw out the arcane runes ahead of time. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a lot of work doing networking.
Yeah,
I don't
like,
know what.
in the
Huh?
old days, it was you get an internet connection, and they had to physically send someone out to the exchange to hook it all up.
Well, that was between the dial-up and fiber days.
Yes,
That was when everybody was on DSL.
yes, that was the DSL days.
I remember the first DSL connection I got. The DSL guy that came to our house put a DSL filter on our phone line. And then, because it was just a little too short, he put another DSL filter on top of the DSL filter and connected our phone line to it. And for the longest time, I was confused why we were getting bad DSL speed.
Oh, my brain!
And I figured it out later.
So basically, he needed like 2 inches more cable.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fact that they sent a tech out to put one of those DSL things in is kind of worrying as well. I mean,
You know,
it's kind of the one point where Telstra's lackluster support comes in handy. Like, 'cause for DSL, it was that they just send it to you and say, here you go, figure it out yourself. It's
You
not
just
hard.
clip phone line into DSL filter, clip DSL filter into wall or Ethernet port on the router, depends on how it's set up.
Yeah, done.
Like, one of the handful of infrastructure things that our government has ever managed to pull off well was that every single place in New Zealand basically has fibre to the property.
Hmm.
So we generally have good internet in this country, but it is very expensive internet. It doesn't matter who you go to, because even if the government managed to pull off the infrastructure project well, it's still a government infrastructure project, meaning there's no competition in the market whatsoever. So
Yeah.
everybody has to pay the same prices pretty much.
Yep.
Yeah, so $100 a month it is. It's incredibly bruising for my pay packet, but I mean, when you spend half your life on the internet, you might as well have decent internet.
Essential commodity.
But yeah, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do for my appliances because I don't have any. So I'm thinking that I'll probably spend a chunk of tomorrow touring the various sort of like wholesalers and second-hand refurbishers of appliances and see if I can secure delivery of a fridge and washing machine and so forth, because warm soda is an abomination.
Yes. You can usually get a second-hand fridge for not a bad price.
Well, the question with the second-hand appliances is not really the price; it's about how much of a warranty they're going to give you on it.
Usually none.
Well, you can actually buy them in grades. I don't know what it's like in other places, but there's a lot of companies in a big city. Well, in relative terms, since relative terms are what matter for this scenario, Christchurch is a big city. Christchurch is an extremely small town by the standards of the United States, but it's a big city for New Zealand. So that means that rich people live there. When rich people live in a city, they will get rid of their fridge for the sake of decor.
Yes.
So that means that there's a lot of high quality appliances with good amount of years sloshing about left in them.
Mhm.
But that means that there's also sort of like a relatively flourishing industry of like appliance electricians who pick up these, they refurbish them, and they issue their own company warranty for 3, 6, or 12 months, depending on what confidence level they have in the product. So you can get a warranty on second-hand goods in New Zealand. It's just a matter of finding a good place. I mean, that warranty will not be with the manufacturer; it'll be with whoever you bought it from. So you need to find a place that isn't a fly-by-nighter that's been there for a while. But you can get a warranty on second-hand goods. So I'm going to do some research on that tomorrow, and hopefully I can figure something out, because it would be nice to have a refrigerator on the day that I move.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm planning to do all the moving on the 5th. So there is a good chance that my house will still be in chaos and I won't make the show next week, because things will be everywhere most likely and I will be exhausted. So we will see how things go. Things might go even smoother than my wildest dreams. It could happen. It's not impossible. But there's a lot to do when you move, especially if you're doing your first move to a house on your own by yourself, because there's a lot of stuff I'll need to buy.
To be fair, next week's show is probably just going to end up being a big splurge about Elden Ring.
Yeah,
I mean,
once you guys really got your teeth into it. Yeah,
I'm trying.
But, yeah, so I'm going to have to buy a whole pile of stuff, because like I don't have cookware, I don't have crockery, I don't have cutlery, I don't have a lot of those things. I'm gonna probably have to do a tour of the house as it currently stands before people here start packing and write down all of the things that you can't normally think of in a vacuum that you need,
Yep.
like toilet cleaner and that type of thing. So
Usually
because
you
I know what'll happen is that I think I've got everything, and it'll be like, oh crap, I didn't buy any tea towels, I can't dry anything.
Yeah. Like for pots and pans and stuff, at least, you can usually buy a kind of a kit, which will have pots, pans, usually a bit of cutlery in there, and a few other essentials. It is,
They'll be
however,
made out of
crap.
they'll be made out of the nastiest metal imaginable, and you will be able to taste it when you eat.
Oh yeah, if
What
you're
is it?
lucky, it'll be metal. But
What is a tea towel?
hand towel?
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's sort of a dish towel for drying dishes.
Yeah.
They're called tea towels in Commonwealth countries
Okay.
No idea why.
because you put one over the teapot to keep it warm.
Yeah, okay.
I think that's what my father always did anyway when I was little. Because the teapot was not thick and not not insulated. It was just a tin pot.
He had too much self-respect for a tea cozy.
Only old women use tea cozies.
Exactly.
So you would lay a tea towel over the teapot to keep it warm. But yeah, there's my speculation. That's probably not the reason, but that's the association I have in my mind for it. But in America, they don't drink tea hot, so they won't have that word.
Yeah, there is iced tea, and there is sweet tea, and then there is only iced sweet tea.
I think that's a southern thing. I think sweet tea is a southern thing.
Yeah, I think, and it's usually brewed by some lady with a thicker accent than mine on my worst day
Okay.
that you can barely understand.
Huh. Of all things, I just stuck it in Google, and I have a website that is dedicated to tea towels. Why?
Because it's the sort of thing old people collect. Because I don't know what it's like in Australia, but like they're a standard souvenir item in New Zealand. Like every town and locality will have like custom embroidered
Oh
tea
yeah,
towels and stuff.
Australia
get
does
it
that too, except usually there's something filthy printed on them.
That's very Australian.
Unbelievably so.
But yeah, most houses, like most households that have been, sitting in place for a while, will have a menagerie of different tea towels that have been given to them or picked up themselves and traveling around the country or whatever. And they'll be all bizarre and all very, very slightly different sizes, so that you can't stack them nicely in a drawer. And
Here we are.
will drive you up the wall.
Here we are. You're actually right about the origin of the name. It is for insulating the teapot and draping over cakes.
Oh.
So there you go.
I feel kind of proud of myself. But yeah, so I have a lot to do. This coming week, and I still have to work full time at the same time somehow. Not looking forward to it. I'm going to be dead by the end of the week. However, everything goes as planned. I will be able to live a much more comfortable, if great deal poorer, life. So
yeah, but the blessing of solitude is worth it.
yeah, I've done 15 years worth of flatting. I think that I've had my fill of other people.
Yeah.
I've paid my dues to society. Now I can stop being part of society.
Yes.
Yeah.
My contribution is done. I'm leaving. Bye.
Yeah, but I'm very much looking forward to it. I'm just not really looking forward to the process. I very much dislike packing, and I dislike moving even more. So yeah, I'm going to work on it over the course of the week, packing as much as I can, and the movers will finish off the job and then move everything. And I'm hoping everything will go fine. I'm paying them by the hour. It had better go fine.
Yeah.
But if I had more time or a boss that was willing to give me time off, I would have arranged to move it myself, but I don't have that sort of flexibility. So, yeah. But I'm looking forward to the process. Hopefully things will be... The house I'm moving to is very small, obviously, but it's quite nice, and it's been recently sort of like renovated a little, like, zhuzhed up a bit, basically. But it's got some space. It's no single room is as big as even my bedroom that I'm currently occupying. However, there are more rooms. So I'll have there are 2 bedrooms, one of which is very small. I might convert that into an office of sorts, and then like hang up some sound foam on the walls and stuff, and maybe I can use that as a recording room.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. Once everything is in place, those are plans for later. But yeah, that's the sort of thing when you're moving into a house, you always have sort of dreams about what you would like to do with the space.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, you turn into my mother, and then none of it ever gets done.
well, I mean, it's necessary to get out of bed to get things done. So
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
step
I can
one, usually.
sympathize. I can sympathize. Yeah, well, the thing is that Ari's mother gets stuck at step one.
Yeah.
But yeah, at any rate, that's basically running around and arranging things. Ate all my time, going to see various houses and that. But I did see some pretty scary houses. Like there was one in the CBD, which was just like flop house would be too generous. It was a house that was it was sort of like a building that had been converted into a series of apartments, but it was a very old building. And the laundry was literally a corrugated iron shed in the backyard, which was shared by 8 other people. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I would describe it as livable, and that's the most generous thing I could say about it. Like, because you could technically be inside that building and still alive for at least a period of time.
That's not a good thing.
Like, it's the sort of building that I can envision, like, the crazy new age lady who calls herself a witch would live there.
Oh dear. That's
Like that,
yeah,
that's the
okay.
sort of building. But yeah, apparently people live in this building, and in the CBD no less. I don't know why it's in the CBD, and possibly there is a curse in it, so it can't be knocked down.
Oh,
it's
it'll
hard to
probably
say.
be historically significant.
It's
Probably
a
'cause-
wreck.
Yeah, probably because someone laid a curse on someone at some point there.
Everything's
Anyway.
always historically significant to these idiots when it does not have any historical significance at all. Like,
Yeah.
literally, nobody could tell you what this place
Like,
is or what happened here.
It seems like
My
this...
hometown was basically strangulated by the local historical society.
Yeah, but there seems to be
Yep.
two kinds of historical buildings. You get the actual historical buildings, which are usually kept on a record, and they're very strictly regulated, and they're things that have actual historical significance. And then you have
And
what
the buildings that should be history.
yeah, buildings with actual history, or that are actual history. And then you have what the historical societies consider as historical buildings, which are usually, someone's grandmother.
Any building
Was
they
born
find
there or
vaguely
something.
nostalgic.
Yeah. Or-
Yeah, anything that they have an interest, or their Politico class has an interest in keeping around for one reason or another.
half the time, that reason is simply it's old.
Well, I mean, that's why I say about my hometown was strangled by the local historical society, because it was one of those towns that had difficulty moving with the times, because I'm from Taranaki, and Taranaki is a farming province.
Mhm.
Everybody there is a dairy farmer, basically. A lot of them have sheep as well, but dairy is the main industry in Taranaki, and the meatworks, of course, because the two go hand in hand.
Yes.
But as such, before everybody had cars, when people were still mostly traveling on horses, there were towns dotted every 5 to 10 kilometers along the main roads in Taranaki, because people could only go so far to get their farming supplies, right?
Mhm.
Otherwise, it was going to take too much time out of the day. When everybody had a car, those towns suddenly became not that useful any longer. And so they all started to gradually die. The town I was in, however, because Fonterra was based there and Riverlands were based there, and for those who obviously don't know, because nobody listening lives in New Zealand, those are two incredibly massive companies for dairy production and for meat production, respectively. So they had a chance to stick it out, but it would have required the town as a whole to move with the times, which means that they would need to put in newer buildings, and they would need to remediate a lot of the old property, the old buildings, the decrepit buildings, and basically dress the town up a bit to make it a sort of a localized industrial center. But the historical society basically got underfoot at combined with the local council, because local councils, anybody who's tried to get a local council to do anything useful knows what they're worth.
Mhm.
I have to sell infrastructure equipment to to the cities. I understand how obnoxious these people are.
Yeah, I used to work alongside their building departments. Good luck.
That they're all basically bureaucrats who they make their living by making everything as bureaucratic as possible and stalling any kind of progress or work.
That's the office side of things. The elected side of things is a bunch of neighbourhood busybodies who really have nothing better to do than get up.
They basically everybody who's actually sitting on local council is a Karen.
It's kind of a
They're-
prerequisite.
They are the worst human beings imaginable. And if you think that's bad, just wait
Second
until
worst.
just wait until you have to go out in the field with the people there, because they will hover over you more than anybody else on a job site, making sure all their little honey, this is my job. You wanted to go sit in an office. I'm the one that's making sure your poop gets outside and doesn't pile up behind you when you take a dump. So please let me do my job.
Graphic, but yeah. So basically, between the local councils and the historical society, no building was allowed to be touched or renovated or torn down and replaced in any way, and the entire town basically got frozen in limbo. And eventually, nobody wanted to live there because all of the buildings were empty shop fronts. That was it. And then by the time they realized that this was a bad thing, there was nobody left to take over except, those people who run weird gift shops that sell, crystals and dream catchers.
Touristy knickknacks and crap.
Yeah, so basically, historical societies ruined my hometown.
Yeah.
But,
the local historical society here is their building is empty and it's probably the most rundown building on the street, which is saying something in that street. But
yeah, if they can't take care of their own building, then they shouldn't be attempting to take care of anyone else's.
Well, this is a street where someone's was taking down a house and they got 3/4 of the way through it and then just stopped. So you've got the front, maybe 3 walls of this house just still sitting in the middle of a field. But yeah, we've got our share of local buildings. The courthouse and the post office are historical, as well as the original Qantas shed for people who like airplanes. But yeah, by and large, we haven't had historical types getting in our way too much. Like both the courthouse and the post office have recently been refurbished. The old town hall has had this modern square abomination attached to it, which is now the council offices and library. So yeah, the difference that can make if people just shut up and get out of the way.
Yeah, the thing is that the historical societies don't seem to understand that the historicity of a building is a selling point.
Yeah.
Like, if you can bring in a tenant who wants to have that building, then you can basically do a lot better than just have the historical preservation society hanging over it and letting it gradually rot under their watch. But if you can't find a tenant for it, it will fall down.
Yes.
Nobody else is going to keep it standing. So you might if it's such an odious building that nobody wants it, you might as well let it be demolished and replaced by something else, because it's just not going to keep standing otherwise. The sort of buildings that have been preserved in my hometown, probably a lot of them are just meth labs now. that would be what I suspect. Because there's nobody in them, so squatters move in and they use them for whatever they want. So yeah, it's not a great situation. But yeah, that was like one of the houses that I visited on my attempts to try and find a place to live, and I'm glad that I didn't go there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, you had the same thing in downtown Townsville. The centre of Townsville was all just old buildings, old offices, and stuff that hadn't been touched since sometime in the 1960s.
Ugh.
They solved that problem by building a giant stonking stadium right next door in the old train yards. And now they're getting some life through there.
Stadium projects in New Zealand are they're one of those things that is eternally contentious, because no one has ever agreed on the size of a stadium that should be built before.
Yeah.
It has never happened.
At least
They
in
will spend
Townsville's
twice
case,
the budget.
replacing an old one.
Oh, that's often the case here as well, especially because of the amount of earthquakes we have. But I swear they spend twice as much money on consultancy and arguing about the size of the the stadium as they do on actually building the stadium.
Oh, twice as much is a gross underestimation. It's usually a lot more than that.
At any rate, I have a lot to do, and gaming has been none of it this week. I have skipped all of the FGO event, the Hunting Quest event that was currently on. Thankfully, Hunting Quests aren't an important event, but I've skipped the entire thing because I just haven't had the time. I've poked a little bit at Pinecone because it requires less engagement to quote play unquote. But again on that I haven't made a great deal of progress, and I'm eternally frustrated by the fact that the hard boss on the event continues to teabag me. I've gotten to the point where I can kill the hard level boss in 3 passes, which makes it very, very slightly more efficient for farming than killing the easy boss for the same amount of tickets. So yeah, but it's sort of frustrating to be teabagged by an event. It's been a long time, but yeah, I'm enjoying I'm enjoying the story. There's a lot that's not explained, and the anime version of the story doesn't really explain it any better. I don't think that they really have much intention of doing so either, but I kind of like it that way, to be honest. There's a lot going on in the background, and it's just out of sight and you catch glimpses of it here and there, and that's sort of more fun than getting info dumped sometimes. So yeah, I'm still having fun with that, but largely because it's not too taxing on my time. So I can, wake up in the morning, dump all my stamina, go about my day. Stamina will accrue again. I can dump it again in the evening. Whereas in FGO, actually dumping your AP just takes too long, so I don't have time in the morning, and it just goes to waste.
You get your stamina cap gets so high in Pinecone, it gets up to like 180 something, that eventually you get to a point where you wake up in the morning, you sit on the toilet at work and dump all your stamina, and you forget about it until the next morning, and it's like 4 a.m. and you've got up early and you check Pinecone and your stamina is still not refilled.
Yeah, the stam accrual rate, the natural stam accrual rate seems to be a lot lower than the AP accrual rate in FGO, but you can also accrue along like 4 different items or something once you make progress.
Yeah.
And you can keep chunks of it in reserve because you've got natural stuff accruing in your bar. You've got several different accrual methods in your guild house. You've got missions that will provide you a couple dumps of stamina a couple times a day. And that sort of thing. Like I sort of like the dynamic of it. I like the flexibility that it gives you to choose how much stamina you're going to put into your bar and when. And it seems like you can basically keep stacking stamina in your guild house for like 24 hours roughly without capping out.
Yeah, and any excess will go in your mailbox for about a week or so, I think.
Yeah, but it's so I like the way it's more flexible with about when I have to play it than FGO is. FGO just wants your attention now. But I know that people have been calling for a skip function for FGO for eternity now
since the game launched.
Yeah, and there's just a lot of stuff like so. That's why so much of the meta is obsessed with looping in FGO, is because it's the only way to keep your sanity when you need to farm something, is by making it a 3-turn loop that is as easy as possible and doesn't require attention. Otherwise, you spend all your life playing FGO.
And minimizing time, pressing buttons, even cutting out skill button presses is the metagame when it comes to farming in FGO.
Yeah, there's a lot of dynamics around like where in the lineup are you going to put your particular servants to minimize the distance your finger has to travel between mystic code buttons and skill buttons and so on and so forth. And this is the place at which you hover your finger above it so you can press it as fast as possible. This is the timing that you can press it so you can press the skill buttons before they actually appear on the screen. Like the level of sort of neurotic obsession with economizing an FGO is basically all for the sake of sanity, because there is no skip button. There's no skip method. And there's really no reason why not.
Versus Pinecone, where all of the esports and metagaming is actually around trying to get around content.
Yeah, as such, they can make the content quite hard, but the power level keeps scaling in Pinecone, which I think is something that works to its advantage as far as keeping the the latter stages of the game challenging. I mean, they can do that because eventually you'll be able to overpower it, right? Eventually.
Because the
Given a
level
lot-
cap always gets raised every time new content comes out.
Whereas in FGO, the level cap never goes up. So, well, that's not strictly true. They just raised it, but it's a limited functionality raising it. It's designed for, buffing your waifu. It's not designed for advancing through content. There are very few ways to advance through content and power because everything is tuned for an unmoving power cap. And as a result, it's like I keep talking about events, how I'm sick of the challenge events because they're always about crits. That phenomenon is a result of attempting to add difficulty when the power cannot go up, and what they do instead is just add randomness so you fail more often. And that's why the attrition rate for FGO is really, really, really high. The only thing that stops FGO from having a higher attrition than other gachas is the fact that people have so much loyalty to the IP, the fact that people enjoy the characters and the setting so much. Were that not the case, FGO's attrition rate would be insane and the game would have crashed and burned a long time ago.
Yeah, people are not there for the combat.
Yeah, it's because it's quite bad. Which is, I mean, that's fine because the vast majority of time spent playing the game is not spent in combat; it's spent reading. So yeah, it's sort of okay in that sense. Whereas in Pinecone, even though you can skip everything that you're doing is on while you are engaged with the game is still about the gameplay for the most part, unless you're watching the story, which is sort of like a one-time deal. But yeah, it's easier to play Pinecone than FGO. Basically, it's less mentally draining and less taxing on the attention and less taxing on the time. So that's why that one didn't get cut so brutally the way FGO did in this extremely busy week that I've just had. Naturally, I didn't touch FF at all, and honestly, I'm sort of yearning for the time when things are going to get a little bit more back to normal, so that I can re-engage.
You done said it now. That phrase is cursed.
I say it every week, so I mean that's why things have been so bad.
That's it, yeah.
But yeah, it would be nice. It'd be nice to play Vidya again. It'd be nice to go back in time and be a useless college student with no responsibilities whatsoever who can loaf around and play Vidya all the time. However, that is not the case. I have to be a contributing member of society now, even though society doesn't let me participate, and Jacinda still won't let me get my hair cut. So, although, I mean, the protests in New Zealand have been quite amusing because the government doesn't know what to do about them. So, yeah. We've held out longer than the Canadian truckers now. The tent city is still on the lawn of the parliament, and they have basically built a city now. They've set up schools and hospitals because the teachers and doctors got fired for not being vaxxed.
Yeah, they created a whole class of NEET via government action.
Yeah, there's nowhere for these people. There's nowhere for these people to go because the government took their jobs away from them, and they're all highly qualified professionals in their fields. So you've got, the medical staff around the place. So it's like the place you go to get your hair cut now, if you're unvaxxed, because the hairdressers didn't cooperate. They're all at the protest now. They don't have anything better to do. Their job doesn't exist anymore. Teachers can't go to work. Oh well, they're teaching the children of the people who are at the protesters, so that kids can get tutored while they're there. They've set up a field hospital, so anybody who gets injured or sick while they're out camping on the Parliament lawn can get medical attention from experts.
Oh, I'm loving this. This is great.
This is all on the lawn of the Beehive, and the Speaker of the House is so angry he can't think straight. He can't. He keeps trying to do these incredibly sweeping and grand gestures to get rid of them, and every single one of them fails. Like they tried to just turn on the sprinklers and leave them on to get rid of them. That was the first thing that he did. He demanded that they do.
Let me guess. Sprinkler volleyball happened.
No, basically there are two problems with this. Number one, our Speaker of the House is a grade A moron. He's really, really unintelligent. It was already raining, so nobody cared. The second thing is that people just pinched road cones from all of the places that were under work in the city, and they basically dug irrigation furrows in the Parliament lawn to the stormwater drains and put the cones over the sprinklers so that basically there was a trough around each sprinkler that would fill with water, and all of that water would be channeled into the stormwater system from the sprinklers.
Oh, that's great.
And the local farmers then brought in bales of hay to spread on all the muddy places so that they were still walkable.
Oh,
So
wow.
every attempt to disassemble this protest has just failed in miserable fashion. So yeah, it's we've outlasted the truckers simply because we don't have, you know, Fidel Castro's illegitimate son running our country. We've instead just got a horse-faced moron. So yeah,
Yeah, she's.
it's been funny to watch.
Do you think she's gonna go full retard like Trudeau did?
I don't think she can, because being kind is like her campaign marketing thing. She's always talking about being kind, even though she's a crazed authoritarian. So I don't think that she wants to sustain that much damage to her brand, because she is, and everybody knows it, she has just been actively building her brand for her post-political career. That's her objective. She doesn't give a toss about the country. She's trying to build her personal career. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think she'll go full retard. I think she'll try and disassemble it through more underhanded means, because she can't afford to have the blot on her record of, you know, triggering martial law the way Trudeau did. Especially considering the military don't want to listen to her, and the police have taken the government to court over the vaccine mandate, and the ruling has gone in their favor provisionally. So the current incumbent government does not have a lot of friends right now. But yeah, it's been very entertaining to watch them just sort of run around like headless chickens and watch everything fall apart. Every major city has a parallel protest. Like, there is a similar tent city set up in the CBD in Christchurch, and there's one set up in Auckland, I believe, and there's one set up in Dunedin, and there's a smaller scale ones in other cities like New Plymouth and Gisborne.
I'm assuming the one in Dunedin is sideways.
Ugh, Dunedin. Dunedin is. I'm sort of astonished at how well it's taken in Dunedin, and it sort of goes to the bipartisan nature of it, because Dunedin is like dyed in the wool Greens territory.
Yeah.
Because there's so many students there, they make up like a quarter to a third of the population, and so despite being dyed in the wool Greens, they're still on the same side as everybody else. Like, that it has been a completely non-partisan protest against the government. Is because it's the government that everybody hates. It's not the government's political views. It's not the government's sort of like broader party platform. Everybody just hates this government and the people involved in everything that they do. Doesn't matter what party they are in.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the watching the country sort of like, it's not as divided as you might think, because everybody hates the government.
Yeah,
But,
thankfully,
anyway.
all our mandates are starting to lift around here, although I still have to put up with the stupid mask mandate, even though it's lifted everywhere else. But
Yeah, well,
it seems like, yeah, okay, there's still protests and things going on here, but by and large, it just seems like everyone's just basically declared, we're just going to do it. We're just going to, open back up. We're going to ignore what the government says. We're just going to do it.
is one of the few things that Westminster has gotten right is that they officially decided that the pandemic was over, basically.
Yeah. Which is the correct call.
They got a new thing to cry about now, so they don't need the.
Oh, when they're shouting at, not shouting at Boris Johnson, you mean?
Well, the thing is that now they're burbling about Ukraine, so
yeah, that'll keep them busy for a while.
They've got a new most important thing to squawk about. So
Yep.
I don't see most of the common people of the West willing to give their lives for Kiev. This is not going to be a popular war.
Yeah, sorry, not gonna go die for the money laundering ground of the elite of the world. Not on my priority list.
Anyway, we'll call it an end to my week there, since we tangented in magnificent fashion, so my job is done for the week.
So we should take a break, and then we'll come back and talk about pain.
Oh, pain for you, maybe. I've been having a good time.
Oh, so
right.
It's a fun pain.
We'll be right back after some music. And we're back.
Yup. Yep, we are. And instead of watching, boring game about peasants, we're going to watch a game about horrible, horrible pain.
Everyone knows real peasants are on fire.
Yeah, these peasants aren't. At least not until not because I haven't had any say in it.
Yeah, it's a lot of HP.
The big game that pretty much everyone's been playing about this week and has completely overshadowed Lost Ark because no one's talking about that anymore. It's Elden Ring.
So we're at my week technically, but aside from finishing taxes and sending the email when I sent it to the CPA to both Fern and Vol celebrating that it was over.
Yeah.
The rest that consumed my not Elden Ring week. That and the regular work. Where you coming up out of the ground?
Oh, weird looking zombie dude. But yeah. And this is when I've been playing for not as much as I would have liked to have played, but I've played a good amount of it so far, a few hours. So, Elden Ring, it's Dark Souls.
Yeah. Feels like Dark Souls, smells like Dark Souls, but it's a big open world and you can go anywhere you want.
Yeah.
So once I'm not getting murdered by sand people that crawled out of the ground, I'll show you the map and everything. If you go into live show chat right now, actually, I posted the map that I have discovered or unlocked by finding the map fragments.
Yeah.
So hang on, I've still got one more sand person to murder here.
Yeah. So just a bit of background. Ari is well versed in Souls.
Yes, it took me a long time to be. I initially hated the franchise a lot. Like I was vehemently anti-Souls.
Yup.
And that's something I want to state every time because it's relevant. Because these games take a while to click.
Yeah, I have not had that click moment yet. I'm still a Souls newbie.
Yeah, so I played through the original Dark Souls was my first time really sitting down and playing through it. And I played it to what I considered completion, though I didn't get the 100% Shivo on Steam. And Dark Souls 2, same deal. Played it to 100% completion, which means I got everything. What is that? That is a giant pot with crossed arms in front of a keep.
Oh, that guy?
Out in the middle of no. I've talked to one of them. He's way bigger than the other one.
That is a big one. Yeah, like I found the pot guy out in he's just got stuck in a hole.
Yeah, you gotta whack his butt with
you
a
whack him
strong
on the button, he
attack
comes out. I liked him. He's very jolly for a talking pot.
Alexander is his name.
Yeah, Alexander the pot warrior.
Yeah, he's just a pot with
he's
big
just a pot
skinny
with
arms.
legs.
So yeah, Dark Souls 2, similar deal. Played it to completion, which means all bosses killed, plus got all items and weapons in the game. And then Dark Souls 3, I did get the Platy for because I played that on PS3, PS4.
Cows are not supposed to climb trees, by the way, Ari. Stop that.
What's not supposed to climb trees?
Cows. It's half horse, half cow. It's a very weird horse.
Oh, yeah, he's a fun horse. I love that he can double jump. I'll get into that in a minute.
The double jump is fun.
But they've actually hidden secrets in really wonky horse jump spots.
Nice.
But
well, you
yeah,
said it was a Metroidvania game, so
yeah. Well, and I make this comparison a lot. The reason the thing that got it to click for me was I do like challenging games. I just it took me a while to get the flow and feel for Dark Souls. And I do like that it has the Metroidvania DNA in it. You're going around a map, and you're jumping around through the nooks and crannies, and looking to find where the devs have hidden stuff that'll make you stronger. Or give you another option in combat or something. Oh, where are you going to point me? These things are fun. They point you towards a dungeon.
Ah, that's what it was pointing me to. Okay, I found one that didn't point me anywhere, but I think I'd already cleared that dungeon.
Yeah, if you've already got the checkpoint, it doesn't tell you. But that one's telling me it's a dungeon down there. So we'll try and find a way down there.
Awesome.
But yeah, Bloodborne played, I think, right after Dark Souls 2. I think it was my third game played, because Dark Souls 3 was my last one. And then Sekiro, which is, to date, my favorite one to play. That has just the most fun combat. And then, I think I can just hop down this tree, actually. But, and now we have Elden Ring.
Yeah. I will say, Dark Fantasy. The plot for Elden Ring, I honestly could not tell you it was any different from, what's been presented by Dark Souls.
Most of the lore will be dissected by Body Video later, and I'll just watch his video on it.
Yeah.
I'll come back and fight you in a second, my dude.
Little old Dark Souls
Yeah,
lore.
dark fantasy I find is one of those genres which is very limited. Like it's usually like here is these people and here is King what's his name who begat King what's his name and begat that, and then they all murdered each other.
Yeah, it's usually
If you do.
it's usually Blank, son of King whatever, killed King Dude, took over the kingdom. Then he is currently in a war with all these other people that are tangentially related to King Dude, and now everything's gone to crap.
Yeah,
Because the big mystical widget that they use to maintain power is now either broken, out of control, or dying.
yeah, and even though there's a few pieces that move around in dark fantasy, like you might have elves who are assholes, or you'll have maybe dwarves who are assholes, or various kingdoms who are assholes. There's just so many things that are always consistent. Like the world has gone to crap, everyone's an asshole, and everyone's either out to murder, rape, or both. That's dark fantasy.
Oh, murder rape.
No, that's Spaceballs. We are surrounded by assholes.
Well, also yes, but the fact that they got George R.R. Martin in on this, and the plot they produce is basically it's Dark Souls. It's Dark Souls again.
I cannot put my finger on what the heck that boy actually did for this vidya.
He ate the money.
I can't work out what he does generally.
Yeah, because he doesn't write things.
No.
Oh, I didn't dodge that right. Oh, that one shot me. That was fun.
Yeah, you just got squished by a bouncing tree thing.
Yeah, that butt slam hits hard. Good time.
Yeah. Avoid the butt.
So yeah, you'll probably see me get hit by that butt slam about 50 more times before this stream's over.
Yeah.
This be what you do with this type of game. You see boss thing just out in the world. In this one, they're just kind of out there, not exclusively just out there, and you just go whack on it until it falls over, until you get your timings down for dodging all of its attacks, and you do it right, and then you win.
Need to go back and beat what's his name, the Guardian, right at the start of the game, who was a very nasty surprise when you walk out the front door of the tutorial area. It's just this guy on a gigantic horse with an even bigger lance, axe, halberd thing.
Yeah, he's much easier once you get a horse.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't know what to really do if you start timing hit and run tactics against him.
Yeah.
Let him do his big charge up move and then just run away from him on your horse. He'll swing his little lance thing, and then you go run back up to him with your sword and whack him a couple times on your horse, and then you run away, and he does it again, and you repeat.
Yeah, so that's going to be my approach to taking him down. Is that's how much I've had that much success doing that. I've got to get the timing down, Ron, because at the moment, if he hits me, he will usually chop my horse in half, and then I will just be skewered while laying on the ground. So
It's hardly polite.
it is incredibly impolite, but yeah, I think that's how you're supposed to really bring him down. That or really just get used to dodging really big swings.
I don't know if I have enough. I don't know if I have the stats to take this guy yet. I keep trying.
He just kind of deleted you there.
He deleted my horse.
Yeah, and that's the big thing I find is horse combat's a little bit clunky feeling, honestly, so far.
It feels like it's supposed to be, though, because if it wasn't, it would be incredibly overpowered.
Yeah.
Well, realistically, horse combat is clunky IRL.
This is true.
That's why they charge, and then they turn around and charge again.
Assuming their horse is still alive, yes.
Like it's not a weapon of finesse, really.
No. Unless you play Hyrule Warriors, in which case that horse can fly.
Yeah. So let's equip some standard equipment here to give you all a better glimpse at what's going. No, I don't want
got
that
some
one.
stoof.
Oh, stat pages are. This is what I really associate with Dark Souls: the stat pages.
Stat page.
Yeah. So as we go through it, I can explain what the important parts on that thing mean. It's less complicated than it looks because a lot of the things just mean the same thing for a different element. Like you see fire, ice, and whatever.
Yeah.
So here we have your standard adventurer. I'm stuck in the middle between two builds because I was going to go pure Dex at first, and Dex was so awful in this game that I decided against that and went for a Dex Faith hybrid build, which requires a good bit of strength investment to wield the weapon. So we see me putting points steadily into strength to get it up to 20 so I can wield the good weapons, and putting enough points into intellect to meet the minimum stat requirement on that for most of the good hybrid face spells, and then after that I will just be dumping points in faith and dex the rest of the way, with a few scattered points in arcane, vigor, mind, and endurance. So what do all these stats do? Well, when you level up, you get 1 point you can stick wherever you want. You got vigor, that's your health. You got mind, that's your FP, which is consumed by weapon arts, special abilities every single weapon comes equipped with, or you can change whenever you want for free, and it does not consume a resource as long as you've got the Ash of War for that ability. You just have to unequip it from the other weapon and stick it in the new one, so you can make a sword have any of the sword special abilities. And also, FP is also your mana bar for spells and incantations for face spells. Endurance is your equipment load and your stamina, and which dictates how much you can do anything in the game, and is a real important stat to at least get to 15, probably higher. Strength is strength, dex is dex. Int is any of the blue spells, arcane magic, usually offensive magic exclusively. Faith, mix of offense and support magic. So you see, like on over there on the right, I have 3 spells equipped. I have Empower Weapon with magic damage. I have the middle one lets me move silently for 10 seconds, so I can sneak up on dudes and backstab a couple of them before I go pull the whole group. And the last one is Cure Poison, because F poison.
Fair enough.
And then Arcane is your item discovery, your luck stat, basically. It affects critical hits lightly. Some weapons scale with it. It's a weird stat, but they always have that weird stat at the bottom in Dark Souls, and this one it's Arcane.
Yeah, at least they're not just like there's Bloodborne and everything was blood something.
Yeah. So I'm using the basic controller bindings, except I've swapped Y and X, or square and triangle for PlayStation. So keep in mind when I'm explaining how the controls in the game work. You have standard Dark Souls affair for most of your controls. You have left bumper to bring up your shield. You can right bumper to light attack, right trigger to heavy attack, or you can press and hold right trigger for a charged heavy attack. And then your weapon art, currently my shield has no skill on it. I got the no skill Ashes of War to put it on it specifically, so when I push the weapon skill button, it's not going to do something dumb like parry. Instead, it's going to use my sword art, which is a big, giant whoosh.
Instantly, does parry actually do anything? Because I've never been able to get it to work properly.
It's really hard to time it. It's like a 3-frame window.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, just get rid of that then.
Yeah, if you're a god, it's OP. But unless you've been playing Devil May Cry and practicing your Royal Guard and know where in that whole animation that parry window is, good luck.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, no. I generally recommend against parrying, especially for beginners. Just find a shield that has 100% physical, so we can talk a little bit about that with shields. So
I think I found one, actually.
Yeah, so shields, most shields are hot garbage. You see these up here, these little wooden dinky shields. You'll see guarded damage negation. If that physical number doesn't say 100, the shield's garbage. Because that means that the shield will block 100% of physical attacks as it goes through. The only other stat that's relevant, unless you're looking for a specific elemental resistance that are all lined up there, is guard boost. That is how good it is at efficiently blocking with your stamina. Heavier shields have better guard boost, but they take less stamina to block with. So that's your trade-off for equipping a heavier shield, is it takes less stamina. So I have a really heavy brass shield right now that I haven't refined at all, because none of the refinements increase its defenses. They only increase its attack power, because yes, you can attack with shields if you really, really want to.
You dual wield shields?
Yes, you can.
Yes, don't.
Why not?
Like, I mean, I can run around right now.
Look at this.
You need to do a build entirely based around dual wielding shields.
Someone has no doubt done it.
You can do this. I don't know if you can double block. You can two-hand shield.
Yeah.
That's the thing you can do.
Again, why?
And you can just... Yeah, this game lets you do whatever dumb crap you want to do like that. So I'm going to put my proper...
realistically, that's how the Souls community has always entertained themselves, is by coming up with ridiculous ways of playing the game.
Yeah. So it's very good at facilitating that. New things that are added to the game. Jumping from Sekiro is in fashion right now. We don't have the zip line like Sekiro did, but we have a dedicated jump button. For those of you that haven't played Dark Souls before, this is new technology.
Yeah. I found jump attacks actually especially good when you're trying to close the distance.
So yeah, you have jump attacks now. Right now I have weapons that are not well suited for it, but if I put back my old weapon set and re-equip that, you can see what I'm talking about here. Where the heck is my other scimitar? Yeah, so this is my old weapons I was using. Yeah, you can do all kinds of fun stuff with jumping attacks. This one in particular is a good gap closer. And jumping attacks play into the new system that they also modified from Sekiro, called the posture system. Instead of poise being just king and having to do raw damage, now you can actually break an enemy's posture and have them crumple, so you can get in front of them, tap R1 from a neutral stance, and you'll do a critical animation on them. And do depends on the boss, but a good chunk of their HP and damage, like somewhere around 5-10%. And the way you do this is one of two ways. You can use charged heavy attacks, which are the most efficient way to get their bar down. You can do jumping heavy attacks, or you can use if you're power stancing like I am with these two scimitars and dual wielding them, you can use your L1 button, which lets you attack with both weapons. That'll get it down. Some weapon arts knock it down as well. This one that I have equipped on the scimitars right now does, but if I go back to my regular equipment, where the heck did I put that thing? It's somewhere. I've not sorted my inventory because I didn't think about showing this stuff off live. If I go back to my normal weapon, this actually does not do posture damage, despite it looking like it's a big blunt force thing of wind. That's a lot of bloodstains.
Yeah, something nasty's down there, probably.
Yeah, I'm probably not supposed to go this way yet, but anyway. So yeah, this is real important in combat and fighting things that are way higher level than you. And that two-handing increases the posture damage dramatically. So what you can do is do what I do, is right now my shield's too heavy to equip both the my staff and my shield at the same time. But I will go in and I will buff my weapon, and I will two-hand my weapon, and I will start just going to town with heavy attacks immediately if I can, if the boss will let me. And this usually lets me put him in a crumple state within a few attacks and force him into phase 2 faster, so I can practice the phase of the fight that's actually hard. Because the intro phases are always just a slog to get through. So I found this incredibly helpful, and not bad to use throughout the rest of the fight if you find the timings where you can get the fully charged heavy attacks and the jumping attacks in there. The problem is you're incredibly vulnerable after both of those, so finding the windows for them takes practice. So yeah, that's pretty much that for your standard Souls combat that I can show you. Let me put my shield back on before I go out here because I don't want to get moited. And oh, I can't summon my horse while I'm in the dungeon. So yeah, and we'll go back into the open world to show a bit of this. So this is the open world area of Elden Ring. You just saw me getting squished by a boss, and that's just a world boss. Those are just out there.
Yeah.
You can see an elite enemy in the background there already rendered in. They rendered those early, so you can see them. The giant with the bow. I'm not going to go try and fight that if the thing in front of it was squishing me. So I'll come back to this area later. And this is a perfectly viable tactic in Elden Ring, is if you come to an area like I'm in right now that's clearly out of my depth, I can just retreat and come back later. And out of your depth is you're getting one shot or nearly one shot by everything. If it's not one-shotting you, you can probably find a way to do it. Because the Souls combat is still very much in effect in this game, and that if you do it enough, you'll be able to read the tells and figure it out. You will get there in the end. Another sword graveyard. Let's go back somewhere where there's grass.
Grass
so
is
yeah.
nice. What is that?
So yeah, that's
a
a giant.
Giant,
Yes.
yeah. They're not too bad. I've bought one of those down, but it didn't give any notable reward, really.
Yeah, so they're actually good for EXP farming. They give 1,000-ish per kill. But they also have another function that I figured out. And you'll find all kinds of stuff like this. Oh, he's coming for me.
Oh, no.
But they also have another function, and that they are very good at revealing hidden breakable secrets. You'll find little statues of like a lady that has a big crack in it. That these are bigger than your character, but not super huge. But they have this really conspicuous glowing crack in them. And the best way I'm trying to demonstrate a takedown with heavy attacks. There we go. And this is what will happen if you do the heavy attacks I was talking about before. And this is the critical animation. And yeah, so you can actually lead these idiots over to the statue, and they'll step on it and break it, and they're the only way to break it that I've found. You might be able to throw a firebomb or something on it, but I haven't tried that.
Yeah, they do follow you a fair distance, though.
Oh yeah, they'll chase you across the map.
Yeah. Unless you just horse and outrun them.
Yeah, so the other thing about the open world is, while stuff has a... Have I been in here? I don't think I've been in here. This is new. The other thing about the open world in Elden Ring is, while you're not in a dungeon area, like you saw Thunder just disappear there, my horse, at this little barrier, that means I'm now in a proper dungeon. So this is treated as a dungeon. And I haven't been in this one before, so I have no idea what's waiting for me.
Spiders.
But probably is whatever it is at this point.
Stupid freaking bats.
Yeah, whatever it is likely going to require me to put on a belt lantern so I can see what I'm doing. I bought one earlier for like 2,000 souls. There we go.
That's better.
So yeah, Gale Tunnel. Yeah, have not been here yet. So yeah, while you're out in the open world, if you kill a pack of mobs, it will refresh your flasks, or your Healy flasks. And you can upgrade these. I guess it's a good time to show the Sight of Grace. So Sights of Grace, you can level up once you get to a certain point. You gotta make it to a few checkpoints in before you can level up. You can mess with your flasks, so you can allocate charges between... Like, I have 8 total charges available, and I can distribute them between healing and recovering FP or mana. And so I have 6 and 2 right now. You can upgrade how much your flask heal for, and you can, if you get enough golden seeds, you can increase the amount of flask allocations you have. So the Wondrous Physic thing is something I just unlocked components for, and yeah, I haven't quite don't quite understand it yet. But it looks like it's a consumable that refreshes every time you rest. So I keep it on my bottom quick bar. And depending on what crystals you have equipped to it, it does different things. And the things you can make it do are wide and varied, like boost faith, put a hot on you, a flat percentage heal, or a DR amount for a little bit. So I haven't experimented with it very much because I just unlocked it. You had to go find it somewhere out near a church somewhere, out in the middle of nowhere. As many things in this game are out in the middle of nowhere.
Why is there blood everywhere?
Because a lot of people died in here. Let's see what the messages say.
People aren't very good at staying alive.
Oh, what up, Alexander?
Oh, you found him again? Neat.
Yeah, he was in this little cave.
I like this guy. He's a bro.
So yeah, and that's pretty much all you can do with the checkpoint. And very soon you get the ability to teleport between checkpoints.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm trying to exhaust his dialogue.
Yeah, it just you can teleport, I think, off the map and not lose your runes, as they call it, not your souls. But there is also an item which is a get out of jail button, which does teleport you back, but you lose your souls using that.
That's a relic from leftover from old Dark Souls. I think it just didn't get to. Oh, I can't go in. Why can't I go in?
Well, I'm not sure if you can use the map teleport in dungeons.
No. I mean, I can't open this door for some reason.
Yeah, that's Ask him to do it. So yeah, there's that.
So yeah. Fast travel is a thing, and you need it because this map's absolutely fracking huge, especially for a Dark Souls game. The first dungeon, I guess we can go over there and have a peek. I can't. I gotta get out of the dungeon first.
Show.
Yeah, it's huge. It's absolutely massive. Like the boss you beat, Fern, he was the boss of the door.
Oh, I haven't even beaten that boss yet. That
Yeah,
tree guy who hits you with a stick and then a hammer at 50% or whatever it was.
yeah, Margaret.
Margaret. Yeah,
So-
Margaret.
So you are at Margit here.
Margaret.
Yeah,
Margaret.
yeah. His hammer phase took me some getting used to with the timing. He took me about an hour to clobber because I did him way underleveled.
Yeah, I'm even way underleveled to be fighting him. I got some exploring to do.
Yeah, you do. So if you look at my map, everything I posted this in. I posted a couple my raw map at the time, and then my map with some indicated points of interest, with the 5-pointed star being the proper dungeon, your starting point written out in text, and red's 4-pointed stars with just points of interest that I remembered off the top of my head. You have all of this that is within levels between 5 and 25. All of this right here can be done between 5 and 25. And the map just keeps getting bigger. It won't let you zoom out past whatever you've discovered. But the map's way bigger than even this.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah, it is a beautiful game.
I have had run into a few issues actually, and apparently other people do as well. Is you just
Yeah, I
get
have as well.
yeah, you just get random frame rate spikes.
Oh yeah, if it's in a particularly bad loading spot, I've got crashed before.
I've had it crash only once, but yeah, sometimes it'll spike and it'll just stay spiked. I turned down the
you have
graphics,
to-
which helped a bit, but not that much.
Yeah, it's a known issue, and the day one patch made it worse.
Yeah. So
When
they
they
say
tried to
they're
fix-
working on it.
Yeah, when they tried to fix it, the day one patch actually made it way worse. I did not want to
Yeah.
fall down here. So yeah, this is the first proper dungeon, and it sprawls throughout itself. Just this little tiny area has like 5. It's like 5 stories big,
Good
just
grief.
right after Margaret. So you can, and it gives you 2 approaches you can take. You can go in through the front gate. There's ballistas up there.
Yeah, no.
That's called suicide.
Yeah, you die if you go that way.
Or you can go around the side and start your venture here, which most people do. And thankfully, for the people that really want the easy time, there is a co-op symbol activatable here, so you can, for most of this thing, you can have a buddy go with you.
Yeah, which actually, I believe it's a new feature for this, reminds me as well. There's the kind of soft respawn points around the place as well.
Yes. So before a boss, you'll see you'll sometimes, or a particularly difficult section even sometimes.
Yeah.
You'll see a statue of a lady hugging the open air with no arms.
And it will inevitably have a message on it complaining about her lack of arms.
Oh, I missed this last time.
Oh, hey, dude.
Oh, yeah, Smithy.
Oh, yes. So, yeah, if you die nearby, it'll actually put up a buff underneath your health bar saying you're within range of one of them.
Yeah, you don't have to do anything to turn it on. It just is on if you died within its range.
Yeah. So if you die within its range, you respawn there rather than back at the bonfire.
Well, you can respawn back at the bonfire.
It gives you a
just have
choice.
to select the other. Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't force anything on you. Oh, hello. Right, I forgot about you stupid things. Hawks.
Although there are a few, like I know there's one outside a binding ring. Just after you do the gauntlet run up the hill through that first gate.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a tower nearby with one of those Genghis Khan looking dudes in it.
Oh yeah, the berserkers.
Yeah. I was
Yeah,
trying
when
to
they
get...
war cry, they can't be staggered. By the way, I'm sure you figured that out.
Nope, they cannot. But if you can get in, get a good combo going on them, they're not too bad.
Yeah,
gotta be
don't let them
aggressive
get
with
their
them.
work. Yeah, you can't let them get their war cry off. Period.
Yeah, if you get
That's
hit by
the-
that, you're screwed. But yeah, there's one there right outside of range. So you think you go into that tower and there's actually an archery talisman in there, which is really good.
Yeah.
But
So,
you're only just outside the range of the damn thing, and I ended up keeping on respawning down the bottom.
Yeah. I'm trying to show off another mechanic that they've added to this game for combat, which is the guard counter. But birds with
Sword birds.
sword legs are not particularly great for it, because you need something that doesn't consistently continue to hit. But basically, anytime you're hit with your shield up, you can heavy attack with your R2, and you'll do a very heavy posture damage, very heavy damage counterattack. And if you can land it, great. It's you have to block an attack first, so that's number one requirement. Number two is it's got a long wind up and a long recovery. So you're gonna have to just kind of hope you survive there. And in dungeons, you do not get your health refilled. Come on, stupid chicken.
Yeah.
That stupid chicken's gonna kill me.
Stupid gargoyle-y
Oh.
bat things you fight early on.
Chicken!
No!
Chicken killed me. So yeah, even junk trash can kill you if you're goofing around.
Yeah.
It is still a Souls game. Everybody was saying it was way easier. The reason they were saying that is because the network test gave you really OP items and let you upgrade everything to like +7.
Oh. 'Cause yeah, normally you can only upgrade +3 until you find the main blacksmith.
Yeah. So game is still Dark Souls. It's so far not been as hard as some of the garbage in OG Dark Souls. But that stuff is garbage because it's jank, not because it's hard. Like the Anor Londo archers I haven't encountered anything like that yet. Which for the uninitiated are 2 archers that sit on top of a roof that you have to run across, and you have a very narrow, barely as big as your character width, set of roof that you can go run across. And you have to run while these 2 things are shooting arrows that are at 3 times as big as your character at you. And if they even get in the ballpark of your character model, you go flying backwards and off that little platform to insta-death.
Oh, that's very, very rude.
Yes. So I haven't encountered any BS like that. But
Yeah.
it's still Souls. I mean, you still got to be attentive and kill the stuff.
Dark Souls
One chicken
1 still has the ever-notorious bridge dragon, too.
Yeah, once you know he's coming, he's actually a really good source of easy EXP, but
Well, if you know he's
'Cause
coming,
you
you
could-
just walk around him.
But
half the
everybody has to get killed by him the first time.
yeah,
Yeah.
everybody dies by him once. But yeah. There isn't really any bridge dragon type that I've seen in this game yet. Like, you could feasibly see everything coming as long as you're attentive so far. I haven't encountered anything. I've a couple around the corner dudes coming to eat you, but nothing particularly bad. But that said, despite seeing this big old map that I've explored so far, this isn't very much the game yet. This map is about 2 or 3 times as big as that. And I've only done one of the major dungeons, and the one it's this one. I'm just running through it now to have something to show on screen.
Yeah, I've sunk a few hours into it, and I admit half of those hours were farming the knights at what was it, the Gate Ruin camp.
Yeah,
get some
it's
gear.
not a bad idea to stop there for a second and farm stuff.
Yeah, once you get the dog summon too, you can cheese a bit of stuff early on. They don't the cheese doesn't last very long with them, but it's enough. There's stuff that even if the dogs don't do a whole lot of damage, which they're okay at, but just the fact that there's 3 of them and they can turn a boss or an enemy around.
Oh yeah,
That's all
they're
it
great.
needs.
And you can upgrade your summons later once you get the hub area unlocked. I won't go there and spoil it for you, but there's a hub area you eventually unlock that holds like the proper blacksmith, and there's a quest line you can do for a lady in there who will eventually start upgrading your summon spirits. And it made it seem like the summon spirits in the network test were going to be really OP. These little NPC AI companions you could pull out for just FP and send them go running after your dudes, but their FP cost is really heavy, and the boss can just kill them.
Yeah, and that's assuming it'll let you summon them at all, because there's places it just says no.
Yeah, like in here, nah, you can't summon your dudes.
Just can't summon
And
your
they're limited to 1 per rest.
Yes.
Or 1 of the same type per rest, I think. You might be able to summon multiple different
try
ones.
that.
But yeah, I haven't exactly experimented with summons very much. I usually just whip them out if there's an area with a gorillion dudes that's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
And I just need a distraction while I go chop people in the back.
Yeah, so the dogs I found, like, there's They're the only one I've got so far, but they're just great as a distraction.
Yeah. So yeah.
If you try and fight the same thing they are, and then they tend to get in the way.
Yep. I'm gonna try something dangerous.
Hooray! Explosions.
Just go ahead and pre-blow them all up
Yeah.
because these dudes will do it for me if I don't.
So that is the game this week, and it's probably going to be the game for quite a number of weeks. That guy has a very strange hat.
Yes. He's got a buddy over here too.
But,
No firebombs.
yeah, I'm hoping. I'm going to keep picking away at it. I'm enjoying it, but I'm not very good at it.
You won't be at first. It takes time.
Yeah.
It's like everything with this series. Get good is actually the only legitimate advice you can give somebody
Yeah.
because it just takes practice. And if you get a sense of accomplishment from killing a boss after you practice, it's great for that. That's this game's gonna do real good for you. If you don't, you need to stay the hell away from it.
Yeah. That rush is what I play Monster Hunter for. So if I can get it somewhere else.
Yeah, you get a very similar. I get a much bigger one from Dark Souls because the challenge is quite a bit greater than Monster Hunter in my opinion.
Yeah.
When it's not doing BS garbage anyway.
Well, yeah.
What?
Oh.
Stupid.
It's just
Sure. Goodbye.
get off.
You're
Ladder
just coming down the
combat.
ladder.
That was hijinks.
Yes. Stuff like that happens all the time in this game.
Yeah. And the amount of times I've been cleaved by one of those berserkers just running past on my horse. Those jerks, even if they're on foot, they swing that giant freaking sword of theirs and they'll just take your horse out from under you. That's always fun.
I wonder if the mini boss in here has respawned. That would be unfortunate. Oh, yeah, he has.
Oh, hello, mini boss.
Let's try and fight him.
Yeah, it's one of those guys. I found the spear equivalent of one of those guys, and he is not fun.
Yeah, the shield guy is even worse.
Ugh.
Oh, it's okay though. I have dex. By the power of dexterity.
Okay.
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no.
Okay. We
That's not the way it's supposed to be. That's like that meme. I don't know where it's from. It looks like it's from Gundam or something. But the guy's bragging in the first frame, and in the second frame he's just like, "Oh no!"
It's okay. We live.
You're not dead. He's not dead though.
Yeah, him not dead because I'm gonna. There we go. Now him dead.
Now him dead.
Yeah, I tried to get greedy and go for two-handed attacks to finish it, but I don't have that kind of damage right now.
Yeah, don't get greedy in this game is one of the big things I've already discovered. You get greedy, you get dead.
Yeah. So let's turn on my pouch light
Patience.
so I can actually see. Yeah, when you kill him, you get a talisman that buffs your charge attacks in here. It's in the
Nice.
chest over here. But yeah, when you go in that room, you get sucked into the room. The door closes and the lights turn off. So just a heads up. He didn't do that this time, I guess, because it's not the first time I killed him. But
yeah.
But yeah, there's a whole lot of oh no moments if you get too complacent or you get too greedy. Like oh, I can totally take this guy just fine without, and pull out two-handed stance and go clop. No. That's a good way to get dead. Where's the door?
Yeah,
the door
like
was.
even those. I found a camp of those really weak militiamen.
Mm-hmm.
And on their own, those guys are nothing. But if one of them keeps you distracted for long enough for one of their weird zombie dogs to jump on you,
Yeah,
then you
the
got
zombie dog
problems.
will. Yeah, the thing will munch your face off.
Those things hurt.
Yeah, so dogs in this game, when you're getting attacked by them, it's a thing in FromSoft games that dogs are the most annoying enemies in the game. In fact, it is not uncommon to have people level up whatever. Yeah, one of these dudes behind the wall.
In the butt.
Trick wall. Okay. It's a thing in FromSoft games that people will level up. There's a stat that's associated with throwing weapons specifically to deal with
dogs.
With dogs because
The
they
dog
have,
stat.
yeah, they have very low HP, but they are the most obnoxious enemies in the world to try and land hits on.
Because
Love
they dodge all over the place.
Yep.
They're also very strange looking dogs. They kind of I don't even know how to
Yeah,
describe them.
they always look weird, but they're always,
But their
unlike a
wolves look
cub,
fine.
always. Yeah. Okay. Do I
I
drop
don't know
down
what they've
again?
done. Their dogs look weird, but their wolves are fine. I don't know.
So another thing in this game that I haven't mentioned yet is item crafting.
Yes.
The very first merchant you run into, if you buy the crafting kit from him, just press start and you can go to item crafting.
The guy basically just says, first thing you should buy is this crafting kit. Just buy it. It's
Yeah,
only like
he just
300
outright
runes or souls, whatever.
tells you to buy it. So you can. This is how you get your fire bombs and stuff from other games, like these fire bombs you've been seeing me toss around. They take a smoldering butterfly, which you can find floating around fires in the world, and mushrooms, which drop and are found everywhere. So they're really easy to make.
Glow.
Yeah, and then you can make basic throwing darts for and arrows from bone fragments of miscellaneous beasts. You can fletch them by attaching arrows to them, or you can super fletch them and make them really big damage ones by attaching storm feathers to them. You can make them poison. You can put this blood rose plant on them to make them do bleed damage. Whole bunch of stuff. This thing I found behind a secret door that required a limited key item to get and lets me make temporary boost to item discovery items. That's really good, but the materials are also really rare.
A lot of the basic ones actually respawn after you go to a bonfire, which is nice.
Yeah. Stuff does respawn pretty quickly or as soon as you rest in this game for picking up materials. Unless it's a precious material like the... where are they? They are somewhere. I know I have something that uses these stupid things. Like the sleep pots, these Trina's lilies, they don't respawn. Or they respawn in way fewer numbers if they do. I've noticed that I don't find them after I find them once. So they appear to be quite rare. But item crafting a thing, and being able to do it on the fly like that, like going, okay, I need a firebomb for this scenario to blow up all the stuff in that room. This jerk. Okay, you know what? Come in here. Come on. There you go. So yeah. And that's about it for the basic stuff. The rest is all talking about the open world and the content we've seen, I guess.
Yeah.
So what have you seen?
I've seen the opening area. So I started with the kind of the blank slate character, which is the wretch. You start off naked, but with high uniform stats. So a lot of my experience has been grinding around trying to find gear and actually not be naked anymore, which I've accomplished. But yeah, I found a few tucked away little hidden bosses. Like there's a wolf cave right near the beginning, and there's a dire wolf in there as well, a small one. That's not too big a deal if you go in there slow and you don't pull all the wolves at once. But there's a beast man tucked away at the back, and he drops a talisman. He's got a nasty combo on him.
Yeah, he's a fairly standard just aggro boss that's just gonna go ham on you.
He just goes ham, yeah.
And he's just gonna whack on you. He's really easy to get into that staggered critical state with heavy attacks, I noticed.
Okay.
Like he goes down in like 2 of them. Now their stagger meter does recover over time for your critical animation by damaging their posture.
Mm-hmm.
But when he finishes his combo, he's got like a full heavy attacks duration for the whole charge, where he just sits there and pulls his weapon back, and you can just clobber him.
Yep.
And he gets hit stun from that on top of everything else. So he just kind of takes it like a champ, and then 2 of those, and he's stunned, and you get a free crit on him. So I didn't find him too hard, but I was experimenting with the systems then.
Yeah, I was still learning. I still am learning, actually, because I watched that video you linked, which I didn't know how the parry system worked, and generally how the stagger system worked, because the game's not very good at telling you these things.
No, you just got to kind of figure it out. Oh, there's one of the spear guys.
Yeah, him. But now I've got that in the butt. I can figure out how to approach some of these bosses a bit better. I also found a assassin tucked away in the back of another cave, which was nice. He drops a talisman that heals you after you land a critical, which is really nice.
Yeah, I got that one. I found him later, much later, and so I walked in there and just kind of 2-shot him. That's a problem I've noticed with this game is stuff does not scale with your level. So if you discover it way later, you will just kind of walk in there and raffle stomp it.
Yeah. I have found a few things that I haven't been able to raffle stomp, like that guard right at the very start of the game. If you try and fight him right at the start, he'll just say, lol, no, and stomp you.
Even then, I'm at level 33, 34.
He still hits like a truck.
37. I must have killed a boss at some point and dumped my EXP. But yeah, he hits like a truck, and you need to do hit and run tactics on your horse, or you need to get really good with dodging.
Or a really good shield. There's
Contraption
another
does not
approach
move.
I've seen people take for him.
Yeah, if you would like to make it a challenge, try using spells against him, or any ranged attack actually.
He disagrees with that?
He will play volleyball with you.
Ah, that's fun. So, yeah, he's got a shield the size of his horse. So, that makes sense.
Yeah, he reflects all projectiles and magic back at you.
Yeah,
So
yeah, screw you.
don't try and do that.
yeah.
There might be a way to animation lock him in it, because he has to do a full pull out the shield and wind up the return special effect. So you might be able to get him stuck in it by just chucking daggers at him or something.
Yeah, maybe. Have to play around with it a bit. But so far, I've had the most success with him by hit and run.
Yeah, that seems to be the way to go.
I've got him down to about 50% so far, so I'll keep practicing at that. Oh, actually, what I should be doing is getting better stats first, then doing that.
Yes, leveling up is important because it determines what gear you can equip, and this is going to decide everything in this game on what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
The gear you can equip is probably more important than your raw stats and what you put into stuff, because how much you can upgrade said weapons that you can equip, and how heavy an armor you can get away with wearing without having a fat roll, which if you go to your status, I think, under equip load there, it'll be in a different view.
It's also on your equipment menu as well.
Yeah, so if you go to equipment, you'll see medium load under equipment load. That means you're not fat rolling. As long as you have medium load, you're good.
Yeah,
like
you have heavy load, you're fat.
Yeah, you will fat roll and you lose invulnerability frames for every point of fatness over the medium load that you go.
I find this disproportionately entertaining.
Just without the context.
Yeah.
So I will I'll rest at this thing to give myself a checkpoint real quick, and then I will show you why fat rolling is bad. So let's put on some heavier armor. Actually, I can just throw on more crap in my offhand slot.
Yeah, that'll work.
Okay, so now we're fat rolling. And there are basically no invulnerability frames on this, and it does not work so hot.
Yeah.
And also, all your stamina costs for all your attacks go up.
Oh, that's even greater. So, yeah, heavy load, bad.
So we're going to try and do this while we can only fat roll, but
no,
it ain't working so hot for me.
No, he's
Yeah,
he's just going to tear your face off. It's fine.
Oh, I got the backstab.
Got the backstab.
But you can see this is going way harder for me than it was previously.
Yeah.
Oh, I managed to dodge one of the swings, but then I ran out of iframes because I'm fat rolling.
And he just... No, you're not dead yet. Thought he had you there.
Oh, got the other backstab.
No, you might actually get him.
But as you can see, that was quite the ordeal compared to not fat rolling. So, let's
yeah, heavy load. Don't do it.
Yeah, heavy load is bad.
Heavy load is very bad.
We're not fat rolling anymore. You can actually go to light load and have a really good dodge roll, and that's viable sometimes. If you get to a point in the game where everything's just one-shotting you anyway. When it comes to bosses, just go light load.
Go light load. So yeah, I'm still figuring out what I'm doing with my build. So far, I've just put a few points into Dex so I could equip a mace. So not have the vanilla club, which is just it's for bonking and that's it.
Yeah, you can apparently respec at least a couple times per playthrough in this game.
Yeah, which is
so
nice.
If you get locked into something, now the bigger problem is I don't know how plentiful smithing stones are going to become later, because that's what's really going to determine how locked into whatever you're doing you are. Like I have my my katana here, My katana here is at +5. My old scimitar, like one of them's at +7, and it doesn't have as much damage because it doesn't scale as well. But you have getting the smithing stones to upgrade these is quite hard, quite difficult, because you need smithing stone of a specific grade and a certain amount of them every time you upgrade it. So the first upgrade is like smithing stone 1, you need 2 of them. Then you need 4 smithing stone 1s and 6 smithing stone 1s. Then you repeat this for the next 3 ranks, except you need smithing stone rank 2. And then 3, then 4. And I have found, you saw me found the only 4 that I've ever found during the stream.
Yeah, I've had them drop off dudes, but very rarely. I think I've only
Very
got 1 or
rarely.
2.
In the limestone caves, you can get a few, and it's stupidly rare.
Yeah. So it's not
Yeah,
impossible
that's
to
all
farm them from dudes, but you're going to be there for a long time.
Oh, let's blow up the chicken.
Pew.
Oh, I didn't blow up the chicken. Try that
Throw
again.
it like tiny baby. There you go.
Blow up this chicken.
That chicken had a viral.
He did.
That was a kamikaze exploding chicken?
Yeah, it was a kamikaze chicken.
Right. Gotta be aware of those then.
Yeah, they're a thing. Fire bombs are your friend.
Firebombs are. So, yeah.
So the cool thing about the fire bombs in this game, fire bombs and the various bombs have always been a staple consumable in these games.
Mhm.
And one of their requirements, and you can increase the number of them you can carry by finding cracked pots, and these are containers for the fire bomb that go back into your inventory once the bomb is used, and then that cracked pot can be used to make any of the other bombs.
Yeah.
So like I can just turn those back into more fire bombs, and now I have 8 again.
There's one in that wolf cave, actually, that
Yeah. So cracked pots are very valuable. They don't seem like it, but they definitely are. I don't think I dropped down here last time. What's down here?
Whee! Splat. No? Oh.
No. Oh, I did come here. I just came here a different way.
Okay.
Yeah, lots of ways inside the dungeon. This is a proper dungeon, but there's lots of places inside the dungeons where you can just find alternate paths. And even in the open world, there's many different paths. Like, you can go around this whole castle.
Yep.
It's long. It's going to take you forever, but you can totally skip this whole castle if you don't want to do it. And you just want to keep exploring the world and come back later. I mean, you have to do it eventually because there's a boss in here required for the ending of the game, but I mean, you could.
It's an option.
If you want to, you can go through this break in the wall up here, go over here, go under here, and then follow the road around, and you'll wind up at the Lake Facing Cliffs checkpoint. And you can go get some stuff from the church, or go run out in this lake and get stuff, which I haven't done yet, and probably where I should go next.
Yeah. Incidentally, there's a beam of light off the coast near where you start. You can actually see it when you first walk out. I went to that beam of light and discovered something very important.
What?
Your character
You can't
swims
swim?
like a laid brick.
Yeah, you can't swim.
You can't swim. You just die.
Yeah, you've never been able to swim in this whole series.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's
I'm
good
gonna
to
try.
know. But yeah, it doesn't seem like that shaft of light is actually pointing at anything. It's just there. So I don't know what that's all about.
I'm just gonna quietly let this guy decide he doesn't want to
Here we
murder me after.
No.
No, I wanted him to give up on going after me because I just murdered his buddy. So I could sneak up on him and betray his trust.
Surprise.
In the butt.
Why is it always the butt? So yeah, anyway. So that's Elden Ring. We're going to keep chipping away at this. I don't know, maybe I'll have the click moment sometime during the next week or so. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it takes time. From stuff you haven't done that's worth noting, you will find rune stones out in the world, or these little dioceses out in the world that are just metal plates in the ground.
Mhm.
And you go stand in them, and it'll say enter the something or other. And this is a solo boss fight where you can accept no help and summon no NPC allies from like the wolves.
Oh, I think I
And
found one of those in a classic example of, I wonder what this button does.
Yeah, that boss probably murdered you horribly.
He did.
Yeah. Wait till you get to phase 2 of that fight, because I went back and did it around level 30.
Okay, and
'Cause,
he's still very, very tough and unpleasant at that point, is he?
Oh yeah, he adds a dragon tail attack to all of his moves, even though he's not a dragon. He's
Ah.
just a knight.
But
And
yeah.
every single attack he does has a dragon tail follow up, where you
Yeah.
have to dodge in the correct direction to iframe through both of them, or you're gonna get clobbered.
Oh, joy.
And also, he two shot me at that level, so I could afford one hit before I had to run away like a chicken with my head cut off and go heal.
Yeah, so I walked into that fight and I got turned into a very fine pink mist at that point. So it's because I'm going to come back to him later.
Yeah, I beat him eventually, but he took me like an hour. And of the difficult bosses so far, there hasn't been any of them that haven't taken me at least an hour.
Which sounds very Souls-like.
Yeah, the boss you're on right now actually took me 2.
Ish.
So, that's where a good chunk of my boss time went in, was studying Margit. And because I just could not for the life of me get my timing on dodging his hammer in my head. It's a really wonky timing whenever he pulls that thing out, because he has 2 different animations.
Mm-hmm.
Is this dude alive, or is he just... he must have had an item earlier.
Him very, very dead.
Yeah. So yeah, he took me a while, and the next boss took me a little over an hour. He hits harder, he has a lot more HP, but his attacks are way bigger telegraphed and easier to dodge.
Right.
I never got over there.
What else have I found? I found a crazy old woman on a bridge, and it took me a while for her to figure out exactly what shape her body was.
Oh yeah, one of the pilgrim dudes.
Yeah, like I thought she had 3 arms for a moment, but no, she's got 1 leg holding her staff as well.
As long as you left her alive, she will eventually go to the hub area, and she will be who you turn boss souls into to get your boss exclusive weapons.
Yeah, I didn't kill her. So she seemed important, or at least not useless.
Oh no.
Because generally, if they don't attack you straight away, you don't want to kill them.
Where's your bloodthirst? you need to murder literally everything you run into with a pulse, and everything also that doesn't have a pulse.
This is instead of bloodthirst, this is treasure lust. Like there is the possibility of treasure coming from this lady.
Well, I mean, if you beat her like a pinata, gold might come out.
This is true.
There we go.
I am highly amused at the height of these knights being so precise for you to backstab them.
In the butt.
Yeah.
It's always the butt.
Backstab, as in all Souls games, is the way to go with humanoid enemies that are about that height and have weapons that reach across the world with their attacks.
Oh, that's right. Try it with a hammer. You don't. It's not a stab in the butt. You spank them.
Oh
yeah.
My.
Yeah. It's a spanking.
I believe it.
It's a paddling.
That guy just he was just cruising for a bruising right there.
Yeah, he kind of walked into that. So yeah.
Oh, and if you leave a little message in the world and somebody gives it a rating, you'll just get a random healing bit come fly into your world. I noticed that.
Yeah, it took me a while to figure out what was happening, because it actually makes a big deal when you get someone rates your message. It flashes on the screen and there's a big red swirly that comes around you. It took me a moment to figure out what that actually was. And yeah, it's a heal.
Ooh, you can see some of the frames slow down right there.
Yeah, it's not as bad as some of the ones I've seen, but yeah.
Yeah, I have a really spicy card, so it can handle most of what would be the... Are you kidding me?
Mine's also a very spicy card now, but it's also AMD.
Yeah.
And yeah. So yeah.
In the butt.
Anyway, Elden Ring, I think that's all we got for the moment.
Yeah, the specific stuff I don't really want to get into yet, but there is a huge amount to explore in this game. It's very open and lets you go all over the place. Everything in this area that I'm circling my cursor around right now is levels 1 to 25. And you can find something to do in this area if you're not making progress wherever you're at before you go in the castle here.
So it seems like if you get stuck somewhere, just go somewhere else.
Oh, fun fact, there's a mini-boss in this room that doesn't respawn when you kill it. But it's like a Mack truck on steroids.
Are those just torsos?
Arms.
Just arms?
Yeah, the boss has the mini-boss has mini arms grafted onto it.
And many hang from the ceiling. He likes arms.
Yeah, those I guess those are its leftovers.
Hmm.
Spears.
Yes.
Dogs. Fuck the dogs. I remember those dogs. I'm not gonna fight the dogs. I'll
Yeah,
go to the
leave the
elevator.
dogs. So yeah, that's it. What else do we have for news? There isn't a whole lot really.
Did we check the email box?
Did we check the email box?
We did not actually.
I'm currently entertaining the stream by derping around Dark Souls.
Yes,
So
you are.
somebody else check the email box.
Hang on, I've got it.
I'm running Katana Revel, so
That was actually one of the things I saw in the live letter for Final Fantasy. Is they're revisiting how the Netflix roulette dungeons work, Praetorium and Castrum.
Yeah, they're making them 4-mans or something.
been a long time coming, to be quite honest. And
Yeah.
I think that despite the fact that those two dungeons are a eternal and unending source of hatred and complaint for everybody, I think that people will be twice as mad once they're gone. Once that roulette
Yeah.
is gone and their free level a day no longer exists, sort of thing.
So no emails this week. But yeah, like there's a bunch of stuff from the live letter that came out, but a good chunk of it was just looking at the upcoming graphics overhaul.
Well, I think it was more like they're trying to sort of set expectations for the path forward after the current expansion.
Yeah, there's a lot of very welcome things that they're putting forward for that, like going back and extending the trust system backwards.
So that when I level my monk, I can do it with the trust instead of with my squadron.
So you can not inflict yourself upon random strangers.
Oh, I just drug Abo involved with me everywhere
Yeah,
and did it that way.
The
It took many months.
The squadron is just tedious.
They're really dumb. Like, they're really dumb.
They're really, really dumb.
Yeah, you ever try to wrangle those guys in Zamail Darkhold on the first boss? They don't like to listen.
Yeah, that was rough.
I've got too much grind before I get to Zale Darkhold. I've got to get them through Brayflox yet.
I brought them not once, but several times through Aram Vale.
Although, to be fair, that's probably less painful than going with, people.
Hopefully they fix the level bracket issue when they add the trust to it, because right now there is Warming Stone. Right now there is a issue where between levels 30 to 40, there's you go from Brayflox to Stone Vigil.
No, they're going to put everything on the system. They're going to put everything on
every
system.
main story dungeon.
Each time they do a patch, they're going to bring out another cluster.
Yeah.
Yeah, so actually, yeah, you won't be able to do anything that doesn't appear in the main story. And which ones don't? Cutter's Cry.
Most of the hard modes.
I mean, I'm fine with not having to do another Cutter's Cry.
Yeah.
You love Cutter's Cry.
I mean, I find myself in it all the time, but that doesn't mean I like doing it.
So yeah, there's a bunch there that, at least for the initial run, they're going to focus on the main story quest ones. They might come back and do those other ones later. But...
Yeah. Well, it remains to be seen. That it's sort of like a resource sink, really, to keep that old stuff working.
Yep.
But it's like the MSQ is the thing that is going to benefit them, since it improves the game experience for new people, whereas the other ones, well, maybe not quite so much.
Yeah. There's a few other little bits and pieces in there as well. Especially when they spend a little bit of time focusing on what's coming in 6.1. There is, thank goodness, the most important feature coming, for Hildebrand.
Of course.
And Hildebrand's going to remain for the rest of the expansion. Apparently there's some sort of tweak or rework for the machinist in the works, but they didn't elaborate on that at all.
I think that we're going to see quite a bit of sort of like low level overhauls when 6.1 hits, because there's a lot of messy stuff currently, especially for the likes of ninjas and machinists that are just kind of a bit of a disaster at the moment.
Yeah,
and monks
quite
too.
Flow correctly.
Monks
well,
too.
I don't know if they'll fix monks, because most of the diehard monk community loves their class being a disaster piece.
Yeah, I think Summoner still needs a few tweaks as well.
The monk players really get off on their class being obtuse. That seems to be the case.
Those people used to be ninjas. But,
monk.
Well, the ninja is pretty sweaty to play, but the monk is actually obtuse from a design perspective. Like it's nonsensically overcomplicated for no really substantial reason other than because they could.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm just flicking through that graphics update. So they're going on and on and on and on about the graphics. That won't come in 6. That will come in at the 7.0 patch, by the way.
Yeah, and it will be rolled out by degrees. It's not going to be all at once.
Yeah, they did say that with the gear overhauls, is they're going to focus on stuff that is either story relevant or just particularly popular for glamours first.
No, honestly, I'm a little bit concerned that it's going to make my character look even worse. So
Yeah, but they haven't changed too much in the way of textures or models. A lot of it's lighting.
well, that's the thing though. Like the lighting in the character creator isn't great. If you don't spend a lot of time playing with the lighting settings in the character creator, you might get a different impression of what your character looks like than what it does more commonly out in the world.
You'll wind up
Yeah.
with freckles.
Yeah, or
Like me.
everybody gets freckles for some reason. I don't know. Like, I didn't put freckles on my character, but she sure as heck has them in certain scenes.
Yeah, but they totally disappear in other ones.
But yeah,
Can I
that
do-
sounds like something janky with the shaders.
Ooh. Can I do this? This seems really dumb.
They're doing things like upping the memory limit that the game has access to, so they can make scenes more detailed. They're going to rework how animations work, so your cutscenes are going to look better in theory. Although, if they're going to go and change some of the stock animations that the Warrior of Light does, I think some of the older cutscenes are going to look really weird.
Why? The only animation that the Warrior of Light has is the stoic nod.
Still ignored in the early games, yes.
And the open mouth surprise face.
I wish I'd gotten a screenshot of it, but when spilling the beans to the Askian, I swear my character made the Tim Curry space face.
Yeah.
Spice.
Whenever you're making your character in Final Fantasy XIV, pay very close attention to where your eyebrows are.
Yeah.
This will disproportionately determine how your facial expressions go in every single cutscene.
Yeah, Ari likes to say that my character looks angry all the time.
Yeah, mine looks sad or confused most of the time.
And mine looks smug.
Your character gives a very distinct impression of a lost dizzy blonde most of the time.
I mean, it's probably what she is, if I was to write some RP for her.
I have a friend actually who played the game briefly. He made a Aura male, and I swear he'd gone out of his way to make a character who looked like he'd never smiled once in his life.
Well, most of the Aura male that you meet in say Stormblood are like that.
They are. They take things way too seriously. And honestly, Aura males particularly who smile look very strange.
Yeah.
Very rape face.
Very rape face.
I never attached to the Aura as a race.
Yeah, some people like little dragon girls.
The ladies are cute. The guys are terrifying.
Yeah. On the topic of Final Fantasy, apparently Gaben is playing it now.
He is.
Gaben chose a very strategic time to announce that he's playing it as well.
Yes.
Because he did not merely announce that he was playing it. He specifically announced that he was playing it on the Steam Deck.
Yes.
Specifically announced that he was suddenly playing a game that people were wondering what games would be compatible with. There's a lot of interest in the technology, and this game in particular has had a sudden surge of interest over the course of the past few months. And he just suddenly decided, oh yeah, I'm going to announce that I've been playing this for a while on the Steam Deck.
Yes, he also points out specifically that he burned out on WoW.
Well, him and the entire rest of the MMO playing population.
Yes.
Like, who's playing WoW now? Even the people currently playing WoW deeply resent the fact that they are.
Yeah, no one really wants to play WoW.
Yeah, I feel bad for people genuinely still playing WoW because they've got to be under some kind of effect similar to Stockholm Syndrome at this point, or they've just sunk so much time into video game that it's all they know how to do now.
It's basically pure sunk cost, really. Like,
Yeah.
at some point when you realize that you've sunk cost and you can't can't really break away from it. You've got no choice left but to huff on that copium pipe.
Yep.
I'm
Otherwise,
so
you got
glad.
to try and make a clean break, and that's not so easy for some people to do.
Yeah, that's a real personality type thing that just not some people can do. I've noticed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, Ari and I both broke away from it, and we had a redonkulous amount of time invested. But
Likewise.
sometimes you just got to recognize something's bad for you and not do it anymore.
Like I started drifting away during Cataclysm, right around the time where they took what was originally great about Cata and gutted it. And it's just this isn't fun anymore.
Well, that's what drove Ari and I away from the game for the rest of that expansion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that hung over me every time I would poke my head back in too. Is they did this? They said no, that isn't the way they want to make the game,
Yeah,
and that's the way I want the game to be.
After the damp squib that was the end of Wrath, Cata started strong, and then they just said no, we don't want to do that, and ruined it.
I mean, to this day, the community upholds early Cata as the way that heroic dungeons should be done.
Yes.
Like that's how people view it. This
They
the
were tough.
ideal.
They were challenging.
Oh, I'm not dead. I'm not dead.
You're not dead. Yeah. Anywho, we've paddled that dead horse quite a lot.
Yeah, it's just a horse that I feel needs beaten every once in a while, because there are people still stuck, and there are people that maybe with just a good kick in the pants could try to get off the copium pipe.
I was rearranging some stuff in my room, trying to consolidate so that I can begin packing over the course of the week for my move. And I did discover, as I was going through, a wallet of CDs, including all of the World of Warcraft many discs.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, you know, when they were still releasing discs. And also I found discs for Warhammer Online, and I found
so
discs for Secret World, because I have the disc version of Secret World.
There's a YouTuber, Joff Strife Hayes, actually did a review on Secret World Legends a couple of weeks ago.
Oh,
And it made me so sad watching that.
it hurts to play.
As bad as Legends was when we played it, it's gotten worse.
Really?
Yeah.
How?
Things like investigation quests, particularly, they made them easier when they released Legends.
Why? Why would you?
Now, they basically just throw clues at you, and they'll throw the answer at you multiple times until you can't help but notice it.
The entire point is that they're not easy.
Yeah, I think they may have actually gotten rid of weapon selection as well. So you just
It's
pick
like-
a prefab class.
That's like putting a stacking debuff for every wipe on your in-game raiding bosses.
Yeah. But
Like,
there is,
why?
yeah, performance is even worse than it was. Apparently, nothing's been maintained on that end of things. It's just, it just made me really, really sad to see just how good Secret World was. But
It's
what it
not
is now.
benefiting them.
no,
They aren't getting more people to play by making their game worse. Can they not see that?
nope. I think the whole thing's probably just in placeholder mode at this point. Maintenance mode.
Just
Maintenance mode.
perpetual servers online mode.
Yeah.
It's just painful, because I mean that game was very good at generating memories, and it was very good at small group play. Like, I never participated in any of the larger format stuff, but the small group play was really good, and even just working with one other person, because a lot of like the zones were just tough.
Mm-hmm.
Like surviving in a zone when you're surrounded by creatures and repops, like it was. There are basically no MMOs in the wild today where world questing with another person is in any way relevant. But in Secret World it was.
Yeah. Was.
Because everything hurt a lot and you were always surrounded. So yeah, it's really, really sad to see how far it could fall, because there's so much potential. They did so many things right. And honestly, because I didn't play it at launch, I played it at beta, and then I played it a while after launch.
Yep.
I never really understood why it wasn't popular. Like, did you just ram that sword directly into that thing's anus? Like, you can quite clearly see that's what it is.
Yep.
I'm actually not looking at the stream at the moment.
I just happened to glance at my other monitor to see where Ari's playing and away from Bat Squatch, and I just saw this star-shaped orifice with a katana planted firmly in the center.
Yeah, that's a
I will
butthole.
I will attempt to find another one. Oh, here's one.
This is horrible. It's deeply
Oh,
horrible.
those things.
Here we go. Hang on.
I wasn't sure which way the back was. Oh, that's it. Yeah, that's a butthole.
That is 100% a butthole.
That is completely a butthole.
It
More to the point, why was that
completely-
butthole glowing?
That's a tweak point.
Completely derailed my train of thought seeing that. But yeah, I never really understood what it was that caused it to be so unpopular. I don't know if it was just that it was such a substantial deviation from the norm, despite the fact that it was hotkey combat. It just didn't operate the way other MMOs did, and I think that at that time everybody still wanted more World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
But
I think a lot of people took one look at it, saw it's like it's modern, set in the modern day, and zoned out.
it was
I mean,
so much better than all of the other sort of pretenders to the throne because it found something else that it could do that others didn't do, and investigation quests were a big part of that. But the environment and atmosphere was all great as well. I mean, you did have to spend too long in Egypt.
Way too long.
Yeah.
But I liked that game a lot, and I liked a lot of the things about it. I liked the ability to repeat basically every quest as well. I mean, I know a lot of people don't like that, but I thought that was great because sometimes I just wanted to do old stuff again, and sometimes I just wanted to do familiar things because I didn't have the energy to take on something new on that day. But there was some quests that I remember, oh, I really like the story, or oh, I really like the characters, or oh, I just feel like doing this quest again. And there were so many different types of activities. Like everything about that MMO was, to my mind, was spectacular and outstanding compared to everything else
Yeah.
that was on the market at the
The
time.
combat was clunky. But
The combat had its issues, but it had its charm, but it wasn't very evident until you had developed your character quite a bit. It was not very accessible in that way, and you could make mistakes building your character that would take you a long time to rectify. Like they were all able to be rectified, but it would take some time because you would need to re-earn all the currencies required in order to unlock stuff if you had just unlocked things based on whether the icon was cool or whether it sounded good on paper. And it was quite hard to get a feel for the way different things synergized. And a lot of people just picked classes that they didn't actually want to play because they didn't realize what that class was actually for.
yeah,
Like, I know a lot of people picked Chaos Magic without knowing that essentially that's making you a tank. And
Yeah.
nobody's interested in a DPS Chaos Mage. Like, that's not a thing. People
Chaos
don't
Magic
care
and
about
Blood
that.
Magic, I think, were the two big ones that really threw people off.
You can quite profitably play those as DPS, but
Oh yeah,
you're just not going to be great because they don't have excellent synergies with other DPS
the
abilities.
tank builds.
Well, I mean, Blood's a healing build.
Yeah.
Oh,
But,
that's right. You tried healing in that game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I feel like I got a reasonable sense for it. We did kill the boss of Polaris by ourselves.
We did kill Cthulhu with 2 people. That was level appropriate, gear appropriate.
Yeah, there are things about that game that are not great, but I don't think that it deserved the ignominious end that it's gotten.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's
Slow down
a
bad.
whole bunch of MMOs out there that.
Wait, you mean that's real slowdown, not my stream lagging?
Yeah, that's the game having.
That's
one
the
of its
game
hitches.
crashing.
Yeah, that's a hitch. That's the game crashing.
Who
Alright.
would do this, Chief?
Switch it back off that then. The game just went bye bye. Alright. What else do we have for news? I don't think there is a whole lot because everyone's playing Elden Ring.
Yeah, pretty much. It's all been Elden Ring all week. Gave y'all the best PC experience of the game right there. Just exploring the open world. You hit a point where 2 zones load, throw something across them that screws with the way it reads it, and as soon as it explodes, game crashes.
Yeah, to be fair, FromSoft has never been particularly good with their PC ports.
Sekiro was fine. I've heard no reports of Sekiro crashing or having problems. I have no idea what they screwed up this time, and apparently it was fine before the patch.
So whatever they've done, they've done it in the patch.
Furthermore, until the latest patch, I wasn't crashing at all.
Is there a patch sitting there for me? Let me have a look. No, I think Steam's already done its thing on it.
Yeah, I was playing just fine with a little bit of stutter here and there whenever I hit a transition point. Not a good thing, but nothing game breaking. But now we're in Crash Town, and I have no idea where the heck it plopped me.
Hopefully I can turn my graphics back up again, because my game, it'll run fine. It's just at random points. It does seem like when I'm crossing area borders, particularly, it'll just really just lurch.
Thankfully, there was a side grace right where I crashed out when I booted the game back up.
That's at least something. All right.
So
if we don't have anything else, then we should probably start wrapping up.
All righty. Yep. So, yeah, I guess that's it for that. Closing comments go.
I'll try my best to make some actual progress in this game. But,
All of the games.
Time.
Yeah. I won't have as much time next week. I'll be stuck working.
Yeah.
And well, next week might be okay. The next week's gonna be a monster.
The week after that, yeah.
Yeah, next week might be okay. But the week following is probably going to be real bad because I got lunch and learns with engineers and I got job sites to go to and all kinds of fun stuff.
It is such a techie name.
It is,
I
isn't
hate
it?
them. They're the dumbest thing in the world.
All right. In that case, let us start wrapping up.
All right, closing comments go. We got it.
We did that bit.
Okay, right. I'm looping back in time because I'm trying to fix the game. And my brain is thoroughly distracted. All right. Yeah, play some Elden Ring. I've given you the best hints I can to get yourself started. Just pick something, go with it, fail horribly, and get good.
Yeah.
All right.
It is good.
We'll see you next week. Sayonara. Bye-bye.